budgeting accordingly. You might, with, with all your data and with all your inputs, you might decide, you might come to a number that to do my work in my department, I need 10 people. And in the annual budget, you send it to your finance controller, stating that, sir, I need 10 people for my department this year. The finance controller will always slash it to 7 or 8. That's the thumb rule. That's what they are taught. They will always do that. More effective equal opportunity planning, alignment with organization strategy. How alignment with organization strategy, as you can see it here. The 4 organizations, the 4 industries. Oil and gas and engineering would require engineers, technicians, okay, production engineers. Now, would I need a production engineer in retail? No. So, you align it according to the strategy. Recruitment and selection. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, you might be having a recruitment department in your organization. You might be having a head of recruitment. You might be having a head of recruitment manager. But lately, the word recruitment and selection have been combined into one word, which is called sourcing. S-O-U-R-C-I-N-G. Sourcing. Sourcing is recruitment and selection put together. It has been identified that recruitment and selection are as different from each other as apple and pears. Okay, back in the old days in Europe, feminism was very strongly there for a very long time. And when a princess was fit to get married, okay, what the king used to do, her father, he would invite, and you must have seen that, like the Prince of England got married to the Princess of France. Prince of France got married to the Princess of Austria. So intermingling marriages happened in Europe. If you read the history, this is how it happened. So when the princess came of age to get married, her father would invite all the princes and kings from the neighboring world. Okay? Depending on their eligibility. So this invitation of the princes from the neighboring kingdoms is called recruitment. When you are collecting the CVs. Okay? Then, they used to have a very big banquet. Okay? And they used to all wear fancy dresses. And the princess used to come down. Okay? And she will take a walk. You got 2 wives. He doesn't have too much money. He's good looking. But he's not a very good housewife. So finally, she'll take a look around, okay, and find someone she likes, and she will ask him for a dance, which means that she has selected. So this process was selection. The recruitment is collection of CVs, okay, like the collection of princes that used to happen, and the selection is finally deciding which CV to finally use. But now, irrespective of what these guys are saying, I'm going to tell you a small process here. Although you have made your selection, okay, you have a vacancy, let's say sales manager or project engineer. You have selected that employee. Selection is done, but recruitment continues. Did you observe that, like in some websites, especially, in company websites, okay, you probably have gone and applied for one job, okay, and when you go back after 3 months, that job is still there. Did you observe that? Even for, these recruitment portals like Gulf Talent or Byte. So you probably have applied for that job a month and a half or 2 months back, but when you go back after 2 months, the job is still there. Why? Because recruitment is nothing but data collection. That job is there in by it or in the company portal because the recruitment manager is collecting CVs. You are going there and applying one CV. He's going there and applying one CV. So tomorrow, if the person that I've selected, he leaves, I have a backup. I have a backup of CVs to replace. So for your information, selection might stop, but recruitment is an ongoing process. It does never stop. As long, I mean, especially for specific positions which is high turnover. Let's say in retail, sales people or customer service people who join and leave, it has to carry on. In sensitive positions like production engineers in an oil field or an engineering company, okay, people come and people go, they fall sick in an oil field, okay. So you have to keep on, as an HR manager or as a department head, you should keep a backup stack of CVs so that tomorrow if this guy goes, you can start. You don't have to waste time. I'll give you one formula. Why this happens is, are you familiar with this term? LOW, okay? LOW means loss of work. So ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you'll learn more about this in your managing economics module. Loss of work is that every job is graded to a particular salary, a compensation, not benefits. I'm just talking about the compensation, the amount that goes inside your account every month and you receive an SMS. Your monthly salary so and so is credited. Okay? Just that amount. So let's say 1,000 dirhams. Okay? The basic compensation is 1,000 dirhams. Now the loss of work is basic salary. Okay, basic compensation divided by 2 multiplied by days not present. And how does it matter with this particular forum? As I gave in this situation, marketing manager has given me a target to recruit 10 guys, okay, by June. And if I am overcrossing the target date, okay, it's July, I could not recruit those people because he's losing work and it is cost. Okay, and that is why department heads or department managers, they run after the recruitment manager. What happened? I told you about the 5 guys. Where is my 5 guys? Because they're losing work. Every day that position is vacant. Every day that the position is vacant, they're losing money. It's cost, it's numbers.
So how does this be performed?
I mean, this is how the grading has been done for job. It's a thumb rule. It's also plus minus 10%. When you're doing a job analysis, when you're grading a job, let's say a salesman, you've listed the activities, you've listed the key skills and qualifications, blah, blah, okay? And then when you do your job evaluation, okay, Hay is one of the main methods of job evaluation. When they grade it, that how much compensation do I link with this position? They usually, the compensation is is half the total productivity of the job. Like for example, my job is to sell 2 bottles of water in a day. This is 1 kg, assuming. My job is to sell 2 bottles a day. So, total production value I'm putting is 2 kg. My salary will be 1 kg. Thumb rule, plus minus 10% once again. Okay? Are you with me on this? So that is why recruitment should never stop. Because each day a position remains vacant, the company or the organization is losing money. And that's what I intended to tell you, is that as strategic business partners, which you're aiming to be, you need to keep this into account. Employee development. Development of activities focus on the acquisition of knowledge, skills, abilities required for employees to perform future job requirements based on promotional opportunities, career advancement, and changing strategic need. Well, too much. Employee development is all about how you support your employees to do a job better. You have got the job description with you. I'll show you the job description again. I get very scared of these definitions. Now if you see, you have in the job description the activities that the job needs to do. You have the areas of responsibility here. Are you with me? Okay. Versus the targets that he needs to do. This is his functional responsibility. Okay. This is the functional skill. And it changes from department to department, position to position. Are you with me? Please understand this categorically. You will never need to remember any definitions. Okay. This is his functional responsibility. I think this is for a sales manager. Okay. Similarly, you can have one for an HR person or a marketing person. Now, there are other skills also is needed for a role, not just functional skills. There is behavioral skills. Okay, the skills, let's say a production engineer in an oil field, he might not need customer service, but an air hostess in Etihad would need that. Okay, whether she's angry or unhappy or tired or stressed, she has to smile at you and get you that 15th bottle of water that you've asked for. Okay? She can't say, come on, wake up. You've already had 15 bottles of water. Are you a whale or what? Can she say that? No. So, so there are behavioral skills which comes out here. This part of the job description. See, this is called competencies up there, okay? Competencies is the last part of the job description. Khalid, I'll send you. Don't worry, okay? All you need to do is like send me your mail IDs and I'll send you. No problem. There are other forms which I'll show you as well. So, if you see, the competencies out there, it is outlined. Leadership skills are needed. Planning skills are needed. Execution skills are needed. Communication and interpersonal skills are needed for this position. So this is going to be there for each and every position. So when you are trying to develop an employee, it's not just functional training. It's not just functional development. You also need to focus on the behavioral development of these people. Okay? He might be great at sales, but he has poor communication skills. He has poor time management. He commits to the client that, okay, you will get the order by tomorrow. However, he cannot meet it. Poor time management. So you, as a department head, you as a leader, need to assess that through review, through communication, through talking to him. Did you send out that mail? Yes, no, maybe. What happened? Why did you miss out? I was doing this, I was doing that, I didn't have time. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, to draw the best TNA. What is a TNA? Training need analysis. To design or to draw the most effective TNA, the bestest or the most effective training managers have depended on interpersonal communications. It's a medical report. It's a medical report. When you go to a doctor, fine, the doctor tells you that go for a blood test or a urine test or a muscular test, whatever test, but first, the doctor talks to you. Tell me what's your problem. You have pain here, you have pain in your stomach, you have pain in your leg. The first thing the doctor asks is talk to you. You tell me. So when you're designing a TNA or when you're designing the need development, the first tool is going to be your job description, ladies and gentlemen. And then will come the others. Benefits. Benefits benefits are of two types. As I said before, 33% of the operational budget, the annual operational budget, is always kept for your benefits. However, end of the year, the finance controller will look at you in a funny way. Okay? End of the year, the finance controller would look at you in a funny way and say, you spent the whole money. You used it all up. Okay? And if you can show your department head that you have not utilized the whole money, he'll be happy. But remuneration is one of the most important facets of employee motivation. The correct remuneration, for which you need to conduct a very solid employment compensation survey. I recommend every single department head to do it. And as I said, that if you are somewhere out here on the scale, around 3.5, it is not complicated. Don't complicate your life by going into vendors and getting difficult forms and reports to read. Talk to identify the 5 or 6 positions in your department. Find out 5 people who work in the same industry. You all have LinkedIn profiles? Yes? Most of you have LinkedIn profiles, so find out people who are in the same industry, in the same geographical region, and ask them, what is the basic package in your company for this position? And make your notes. And see where you stand. Simple. Benefits include all non-cash. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, remuneration and benefits are two different things. Remuneration is cash. Basic salary, housing allowance, other allowance, transport allowance, etc. But benefit is something non-cash. Medical insurance. Okay? Airline employees get free tickets. Okay? Or discounts. Retail employees get discounts. Dima, do you get discounts? In Alshaya, if you show your employee card?
Yes.
Benefit. That is not cash.
More like privileges.
Okay? That comes under the benefit facet of it. And when you are designing your benefit is also a strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this case of Dima coming from Alshaya, and she gets, let's say, X amount of discount for all purchases from Alshaya outlets, or an Emirates employee gets a discount in ticket fare when she buys a ticket from Emirates. Okay? Look at the strategy here. I have designed my benefits such a way that Dima, my employee, whenever she goes out to buy, she will not go to Carrefour or she will not go to Job, she will go to an Alshaya outlet. And I'm giving her, let's say, 25% discount. She's happy. Okay? She's happy. And what she's doing for me is she's increasing my sales volume as well. Okay? And Emirates employee, same thing. So when you're designing your benefits, you need to find out what are the objectives of your organization. When you're designing the benefits of your enterprise, your department, you need to find out what are the objectives of your department. And benefits should be designed to meet with that strategy.
Sir,
Yeah. Please don't call me sir. I'm just 45. Okay? You make me look like 61. My name is Deep. Yeah. Yes. Same word. Same thing. Some people call it. Remuneration is a more British term. Compensation is a US state defined term. Okay. It's the same thing.
you said that compensation is something that goes with the
Yes. The extrinsic compensation. Cash bonus is a part of the departmental incentive scheme. You have like let's say your sales. Okay. You have a departmental budget of achieving X amount of revenue. So you have kept a space that if you achieve X amount of revenue, you have a space to give out Y amount as incentive. It does not come from the compensation budget. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very important question. He has asked a question that like, where does the annual bonus or incentive or commission comes from? It comes from the functional budget, not from the compensation budget. Okay?
What does it mean? Functional budget. What does it mean?
The compensation budget is the salary budget, budget for salary.
Okay.
You have 100,000 for your 100,000 as your operational budget, and 33,000 is your budget for salary. But he's asking about commissions, incentives, bonuses. That will come out of the respective department who is announcing it. That department's operational budget. HR has an operational budget, sales has an operational budget, marketing has an operational budget, right? So that will come out of their department. It's not going to come out of the HRTT. Okay? It's not compensation budget. Yes. Every department has a budget. Sales has a budget, so those will come out from that. Employee relations used to refer to the general management and planning activities related to developing, maintaining, improving employee relationships through effective communication process. What do you mean by maintaining? How do I maintain an employee? Yes, Jasmine? Okay, that is training and development. I'm talking about maintenance. Your car goes for servicing after every 5,000 kilometers?
Yeah.
That is maintenance? So what is maintenance of an employee?
Training.
Training is different.
Fixing.
Insurance.
That is compensation and benefit.
Skill.
Motivation. Employee maintenance is motivation. As I said, rewards. As I said that yes, correct, fairness. The values of the organization. Every organization has a mission, vision and values. Okay, the values are the maintenance tools of the employment. Now, as I said before we started that these are your human assets. This is not chair or table. I can kick the table will not feel bad. It will still go on to support you, writing on it. But these assets, they can think and feel, and their actions are determined by their thinking and feeling. So when you do your employee relations correctly, employee motivation correctly, okay, it increases their maintenance factor. Now, my line manager, I have seen that he is involved in unfair practice. My line manager is involved in unfair practice. He takes bribe from vendors. Are you with me? He takes bribes from vendors. Okay. What do I do?
Report him to the manager.
Are you crazy? I will not survive in the organization. He's big booty, man. Have you lost it? Okay, I'm scared. That is the right thing to do, but I'm scared. I'm fearful. If I report him to the organization or to the HR, my job will be at stake.
They might think that you yourself are involved too.
Okay, fine, that's true, but my job will be at stake. He's the HR manager. I've gone and told him that my manager, he's taking bribes. So he goes and talks to him that, one of your staff, Deep, came to me and said, he will find out a way to throw me out in the next 10 days.
There's
3 days.
There's some like box or emails that usually.
Okay, that's one of them, maintaining the confidentiality. But overall, the HR or the department head is actually the parental figure of that department. Are you promoting a culture of fairness in the organization? You are the finance team does their audits every year or every 6 months, don't they? They do their audits. The internal audit department, they do their audits. The quality team, you're from quality, aren't you? He does his audits, don't you?
Yep.
Quarterly, half-yearly, annually.
Right.
How many times do you do your audits as HR people? You need to also do your audits as department heads, not just on performance, as in how safe does your employee feel in the organization? Does the employee feel that your organization is a fair organization? And those audits are as important as this man's audit, who probably gives you a certification of ISOs and etc. But the HR audits are equally important. And that is your employee maintenance, ladies and gentlemen.
How to do so? What kind of mechanism?
Employee survey, employment survey. Frame your own questions. And if you go to the website, to internet, you'll get 10,000 different employee satisfaction survey questions. Design it according to your industry, your organization. Find out from there, and it'll give you a score. Okay? And find out where you stand. Don't keep any names out there. I mean, in the form, don't put any names. People will feel safe. But once you have increased your standard of safety, okay, then you can put names. And if people are free to write down that, okay, I feel my line manager sucks, that means you're in the right track. In Google, they can do that. In IBM, they can do that. In Apple, they can do that. In Apple, they can write the feedback about their own CEO as well. Now, this is the employee relations element. Promotion, as you said, resignation, discharge, layoff, retirement, disciplinary actions. These are the things that happen with employee. Now, you need to maintain a database of your department. How many got promoted? How many resigned? How many were sacked? These two are not important. And how many disciplinary actions have been taken against your staff on a yearly basis? That will tell you the exact chemistry of your department. Number of resignations means there is something wrong with you. Ladies and gentlemen, when you analyze this data, this MIS, you have a separate chapter module called MIS in this course. Okay? When you analyze this MIS, number of resignations means something is wrong with you as a department head. Number of discharges or people who have been sacked also means something is wrong with you. It is not just I have sacked 5 employees from my department does not mean that like those 5 employees are bad. It also points a finger at you. If I point a finger at you, ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 pointing at me. Okay? Khalida, you don't know your work, but there are 1, 2, 3 points at me that says, yes, Deep, you did not train her well. Yes, Deep, you did not recruit the right person. Yes, Deep, you did not mentor and coach her well. These 3 fingers are pointing at me. Number of disciplinary actions, which means, fine, they might be bad stuff, but did you explain the policies and procedures to them correctly? Do you have documented proof that every single employee in your department has gone through an onboarding program where you have given them their job descriptions, where you have told them what to do and not to do? Very simple example, ladies and gentlemen. In Almarai, back in Riyadh, we had this car park in front of the office, okay, and we had this designated smoking area, okay. So people were asked to go to the smoking area to smoke. So one day, this new guy, he's probably 2 days old in the organization, he was seen standing in the car park and enjoying a cigarette. The CEO, Mr. Abdul Rahman Fadli, who's become a minister now, okay, in the Saudi government, he stopped by. He looked at the employee who was smoking. He didn't say anything. He walked in, went to his office, and sent out a mail to the HR head that how come your employees don't know which place to smoke? So when anything goes wrong in the organization, the first person to be blamed is always the HR. Okay? And also the department head. How come your employee do not know where to smoke and where not to smoke? So do you have a documented proof that you have done the right onboarding? Do you have a documented proof that he has the job description in his hand? Do you have a documented proof that he knows all the policies and procedures? Keep it with you. Safety, programs that establish physical, mental, and well-being of the employees. What kind of programs are they? Just physical health safety programs? Fire drills? No. Programs about fairness, programs about ethics, programs about equality, programs about respect, and especially in this part of the world, in the Middle East, where there are so many different cultures working together. Okay? These are very, very important. Mandated by regulatory laws requiring employers to provide safe work environment as per the standards laid down by the Ministry of Labour. So this is health safety. This is the 7 dimensions of effective people management. The 7 flags. How secure are your employees? Do they feel safe socially, emotionally, and physically? Socially, emotionally, and physically, do they feel safe to come to work? What kind of selection do you do? Are you hiring the right person? Are you rejecting the right person? There is a quadrant. The quadrant looks like this. It's a very funny quadrant. Can you see this? Okay. Selection, skill. Wrong skill, selected. And right skill, rejected. Okay? Wrong, right. Wrong skill selected, wrong. So in a recruitment, there are this quadrant, there are these 2 errors that you can make. Selecting the wrong skill and rejecting the right skill. Okay? That always happens, sometimes. So what kind of selection are you doing? Self-managed teams. Does your teamwork, somebody said teamwork here, initially, out here. Does your teams have the capability of doing work individually? Is your compensation linked to performance? And I mean, there is a fair way of evaluating that performance? What kind of trainings do you give to your staff? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you another law. Just like we have the PMI, the Project Management Institute, who's the last word of project management. Okay? We have, the last word of training and